Hello, and thank you so much for coming back. This is Joanna from Joanna the Medium, or I am Joanna the Medium. Thank you so much for your patience. The videos for September are coming a little bit late. I was just absolutely swamped in September. Thanks to you for the most part. The soul coaching sessions have proven to be a tremendous hit. There were 75% of all my work in September, and clients, you have found them to be extraordinarily helpful. So thank you for that. Thank you very much. This is obviously, these are general readings. It will not apply to all of you. That would be absolutely impossible. If one reading doesn't apply to you, look at your other signs as it may form a greater picture. I am also becoming very, very aware that the energies that I am working with are energies that are meant to give messages in a broader context. And what I mean by this is information is coming forward to help you look at life and at situation or situations from a different perspective. And the reason why that's being given to you at this time is because those of you who are ready for the next step of your soul's growth will instantly resonate with what's being said. Those are also messages that are not specific necessarily with regards to what's going on with your life and how you need to fix it. And for that reason, some of you will get very frustrated with me, and that's fine. If that's the case, you may not be ready for the information that I will be presenting moving forward. Sometimes it's just a matter of timing. Sometimes you're not ready to hear something, but you may be ready for a month from now or 2 months from now. And I absolutely respect that. I've been there myself. But it is very much as me saying, these messages are meant to help you how to fish rather than to give you fish every single time, because helping you learn how to fish is going to empower you to take better care of yourself in a more empowered way, versus if I was to be feeding you all the time and giving you information. That's actually very disempowering. And my greatest passion is to help people become empowered and find their own light in order to grow and live happy lives that start from feeling good within. So that is my greatest hope for all of you. And some of you are just looking for things to be fixed. And, you know, if that's the case, you probably will not resonate with a lot of the messages that I say here. And that's totally okay. I am completely open to that, and I have respect for that. Okay. Is there anything else that I want to say? No, of course, if you would like a private message, you can also email me at Joanna the Medium or info@joannahthemedium.com, but I have included links for you down below, so it's much easier so you don't have to look. I also want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, as always, for watching, sharing, subscribing, for if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be doing this. September is going to be an interesting month, to say the least. It is a month of changes and transformations for many of you, myself included. These aren't changes that are bad, or at least should not be looked at it that way, but there's definitely an energy of change that is very apparent in most of the readings that I've done for September. I think that's it. I don't want to spend too much of your time blabbing. So let's get on to the readings. And again, thank you so much for watching, sharing, and subscribing. And I look forward to hearing from you as far as your comments, because I love hearing those and reading those. And some of you have said I should stop going and I actually just noticed that I do that a lot. So I'm going to try and pay attention to that as much as I can. But it is something that's ingrained, so it's going to take me a bit of time to eradicate, but I obviously thank you for that comment. Without further ado, let's get started with the readings. See you soon. Hello and welcome back again. This is going to be a reading for the sign of Aquarius, just checking. Moon sign, sun sign, and rising sign. I will connect with Spirit for messages before I flip the cards over. I have 3 cards. And let's see what we've got. Excuse me. Please keep in mind these are general messages and they will not apply to everyone. That is pretty much an impossibility, but you can take the meaning behind each message as a greater component and see if you can apply it in your particular life. Okay, let's see what we've got. When I connect with you or with the energy of this reading, I have a sense of standing in front of a new path. This is very much a feeling of starting something new, and for some of you, starting from scratch. The way I feel when I look at what's in front of me, I feel unfamiliar. Though I feel unafraid, there is a sense of unsureness. I also feel that I have just left my past behind. I have left people, situations, sometimes even monetary components. I have left my home, and I feel like I have literally a backpack on my back, and that's all I have with me. So there is definitely a sense of starting new, fresh, but pretty much like starting from scratch. I hear the words relationships. For some of you, you're starting fresh and new, and this is to do with relationships. For some of you, this is jobs or careers, and for yet another sector of you, this is a certain way of being. And this is what I want to talk about first. I feel I have left something behind. I hear the words old adage. I don't even know what that means, to be honest. Can you show me something different? Old ways. I left old ways behind me, and I'm ready for something new. So for a significant portion of you, because that stands to me in the middle, relationships and work is on other sides, but this is going to be for those of you who are starting fresh and starting new with respect of your views of the world, or how you see yourself in it. So it is to do, this is all internal work. So you have just gone through some kind of either transformation or something, and you've arrived at a place where you're starting from scratch. I'm being asked to pay attention to the backpack on my back, and I'm saying, well, it's small. And he says to me, no jewelry there. He says to me, for those of you who this is pertaining to, you are taking but a small part of your past with you, which is actually very healthy because it allows you to travel distances without being weighed down in the process. And this is a metaphor which you will understand. I hear again the words, allow yourself to be free. And this seems to be the theme for September. Freedom is a product of the mind or your imaginations. Now, for those of you who are going to jump on the screen and say, how can you say that there are people who are kept captive? Absolutely. There's no question about it. Having said that, and you can fight me all you want on this, having said that, even those who are, I'm not going to say it that way, even though we can be kept captive, the freedom we have within our minds and our hearts can never be taken away. That's what's being addressed here. So please don't try to, strangle me by what I'm saying, because some of you are pretty aggressive. I'm just joking. Well, some of you are, but that's okay. So take it as a metaphor for enriching your life, not for something that is of the negative nature. So for those of you who the message is for, and I'm just going to presume it is not for those of you who are tied down by someone or are being kept captive, at least I hope not, for God's sake, that would not be a good thing. So for the general public, freedom is a state of mind, and it is important for you to know that and understand that, because that knowledge and that understanding will give you a different perspective at looking at life at large. Okay? Also, for those of you who are starting fresh with new way of looking at things, I'm seeing metaphorically wings being attached to you. And when I ask what these wings represent in this particular situation, he says to me, what else? Freedom of choice, freedom of expression, freedom of certain way of being. So whoever you are starting fresh and you are starting new. And although it feels maybe a little bit not intimidating, because that's not what I feel, unsure, I don't feel there's any fear attached to it. Okay, so whoever you are, good on you. And I hear pat on your back, so pat yourself on the back. He wants me to stay with this. Okay. Maybe for some of you have literally moved to a different town or a different country, and you are literally starting from scratch. And I see you moving forward into this city that is feels very new, feels unfamiliar, but it feels again like I've arrived. I feel like it's right. So I'm going to leave that with those of you who this is for. Now I'm going to see if he wants to address the other two, which is relationships and jobs or careers. Okay, the reason why he asked me to talk about the way of being first, because the message is a bigger message that applies both to jobs and relationships. And he says there is movement on both. So there's going to be movement in jobs and relationships, or career and relationships, for some of you as well. And I'm asking, are these negative or bad situations or changes? And he says not necessarily. It all depends how they view it. So this message seems to be very consistent with every single sign, and it has been said in each reading in slightly different way, but I can see the message is very much the same. And it is all about how you think you will feel, or what you think will produce a certain feeling, and that certain feeling will emanate a certain energy, and that energy will be matched by the universe with something else that will come back to you. So pay attention to your thoughts. If you are going through changes in either relationship or jobs, if you look at it as something negative, as opposed to something that's potentially greater than what you've had, you're going to be met with the proverbial door in your face. Okay? If you look at situations or changes in a way that says, this may not feel right now and actually may suck. Changes are uncomfortable. Rarely changes are changes just very comfortable and smooth. But they're most congruent with shaping us. If you look at changes with positive attitude and positive outlook, you will have a far easier time going through these changes. So, let me see if there's anything else he wants me to say. No, that's all I want to leave with this message. Okay, let's go through the cards. The first card represents your past. Ah, beautiful cards. This is one of my, if not the most favorite card in the deck. It's called Power. 8 is a number to me of abundance. Abundance on level. I also hear the word infinity. And being a major arcana, it is signifying change or an aspect of you within you. So in other words, it's not the outside circumstance or environment. And I'm going to ask why this is being shown to me in a position of your past and or your background. When I connect with this card, I feel like I can do anything. There is a renewed sense of freedom again, and feeling like I can do anything. But I have to tell you, before I felt this, it's very apparent to me that this is a feeling that isn't something I felt all my life. It is a feeling that is relatively new to me, but something that I acquired through a lot of self-sacrifice and contemplation on my part. So this is serving as the background or as the foundation for the next two cards, which are your present and your future. I feel that this is fascinating, and it gives me a certain strength about this reading that is even stronger than what I originally felt. He also says that retaining your sense of dignity is very important to you. And I'm being asked not to analyze this, because the moment I start analyzing, things go sideways. And not to interpret. Sorry about that. Someone just walked into the room and it threw me off. Okay, so let's continue on with the next card, which represents your present or your challenge. And we have the card called Patience. This is another major arcana card. And this is something that is very much within you, where patience is pretty much self-explanatory, but it's shown to me in reverse. So I think I don't need to explain it, but I'm going to see if there's more to this card than what the obvious is. So the obvious is that you're probably feeling very impatient right now, and this impatience could be with regards to where you're moving or the movement of your situation, which is fine. But I want to just connect more with this card and see if there is anything else that I can get from this. What I get when I connect with this card is actually not words. It's more of an emotion in my, or a feeling in my throat and in my chest. And it almost feels like I'm not allowing myself to say certain things out loud. And let me just explore this a little bit more. And this has something to do with your urgency to move forward. Something you don't want to speak about or you don't want to say. And it's like you're just not wanting to go there. There's some kind of frustration with where you're at right now, but you're not wanting to address it with anyone. And I hear the words urgency, a sense of urgency. If this is you, if this is your situation, you're being asked to look deeper within into what is causing you this frustration, okay? And I feel like I have stuff bottled up and I'm just pushing it aside. Please don't do that, because that's, I'll tell you right now that when we bottle stuff, it just festers and it's poked, you know, many times going forward. So I would urge you to just I hear the word bottled up. It's you've got something that you're bottling up and it needs to come out, or it would be most beneficial for you to have it come out in some way. Maybe even as simple as acknowledging what that is and allowing yourself to feel the frustration rather than just pushing it aside. And I know it's not comfortable sometimes feeling those things, but when we allow ourselves to feel, we allow ourselves to digest it and release it, as opposed to push it down and suppress it, because that's never really a good idea. Now the next card is represented by future. Ah, beautiful. So you've got nothing to worry about, okay? This is a Suit of Cups. It's 3 of Cups. It is rejoice in celebration. It is all about emotions. This is a card that is literally celebratory in nature. So whatever you're going through, whatever you're facing, even though it's new and even though there may be frustrations and things bottled up, the outcome, the positive outcome is inevitable. I hear the word relationships. For some of you, you have left relationship or you are leaving a relationship. And it could also be that for some of you decided to take your power back in a relationship and therefore you're choosing to leave and move on. And that's a good thing. I always say if we feel powerless, things rarely, end up being happy in the long run because, well, let's face it, resentment builds in, anger, and, the list goes on. So if you just got your power back, good for you. And that's why I felt perhaps where it was not something that's been with me forever, that it was something that I felt it was relatively a new feeling. And maybe that's why it's you've gained your power back and you've decided to move on. So end result is fantastic. There's nothing to fear. There is no worries there. It is, I hear the word spring, so I don't know how spring is connected to this. And for some of you, I hear wedding. Interesting. Okay. So for some of you, this is going to be relationship and there is a wedding on the way in spring. Or something to do with a wedding in spring 2017. Yes, 2017. And then I'm also seeing 2018. So maybe for some of you, you will be entering a relationship, or you are entering a relationship, and there's going to be discussions of wedding, or a wedding, or having a wedding in spring this year, next year, or the year after that. I hear the words again, freedom of choice. Being able to choose, or feeling freedom to choose. And I feel I was shackled in the past where I felt I couldn't choose, or I didn't have choices. That's not even the right way of saying it. I felt I didn't deserve to have choices. That's more appropriate of a feeling than what I've said before. But for some reason, something has changed. You took your power back and you're now choosing wisely, or your choices are wiser, or there's that kind of a feeling to this. It's very freeing and very empowering and very enriching feeling to all of this. I also hear the words money will come. So if you are perhaps impatient with money or finances, maybe that's the feeling you're bottling up. Money will come. Or maybe you're bottling up the fact that there's not enough money for the wedding and you're frustrated. You're being told money will come. I also hear the words allow yourself to feel. When we bottle our feelings, they fester. It's in a metaphorical way, it's like, stuffing an apple under the carpet. Eventually that apple is going to rot and it's going to start to smell and flies are going to start coming and it's going to become a big mess. It's going to be pretty messy to clean up. So it's best you don't fester your feelings. It's best you don't bottle your feelings. It's best you feel, examine, digest so that it can be released. That's what I'm learning in the last little while, that it's really, really important to feel. And most of us don't want to feel things that feel shitty, right? Well, of course we don't. But what we do, typically what most of us do, is we will push away, we will want to go to our logic, we want to resist, we just want to stuff them away, we want to forget, and they just kind of fester there. And you know, in the next opportunity, it's poked every single time and it brings up those feelings again. So allow yourself to feel, because it's important. It's an important part of your growth. I feel that's what I've got. I feel that's what I've got. As a last piece of information, I see the words feel love, and it's underlined. And I want to see what this is. For some of you, don't be afraid to feel love. I know it's a big statement. For some, it's difficult to feel love because some come from an environment where love was not the predominant emotion in one's environment, and it can be very scary for some, okay? If you come from an environment where you didn't have power, allowing yourself to feel love might feel slightly daunting because you don't want to get hurt. So I understand all of that, but he's saying allow yourself to feel love once again. And I'm going to leave it at that. I hope this made sense. Of course, this is a general reading. It won't apply to everybody. If you would like a private reading, you can reach me at joanna@themedium.com, or I've included some links below for you, for your convenience. Thank you for sharing, for watching, for subscribing. It means a lot to me. If you would like a private reading, of course, please let me know, and we'll see how this pertains to you specifically. Until then, I wish you best of luck in the month of September. Take care, and thank you so much for watching, and see you in October.